But we begin tonight with some very big election news regarding the future of the United States Senate and what's probably our final opportunity to do this. Today, in a unanimous decision, the Minnesota Supreme Court ruled that Democrat Al Franken is entitled to the election certificate he needs to assume office and thereby be certified as the winner of Minnesota's long disputed Senate race. The court ruled 5-0 against former Republican Senator Norm Coleman's appeal that more absentee ballots should be counted, thus clearing the way for Franken to be seated in the U.S. Senate nearly 8 months after Election Day 2008. Today, Al Franken and Norm Coleman both held press conferences after the court ruling. The big question for Mr. Coleman, would he keep fighting? Would he appeal this decision all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court? In a word, nope.
Ours is a government of laws, not men and women. The Supreme Court of Minnesota has spoken. I respect its decision, and I will abide by its result. It's time for Minnesotans to come together under the leaders it has chosen and move forward. And I join all Minnesotans in congratulating our newest United States Senator, Al Franken.
About an hour after Mr. Coleman's concession, comedian turned author turned talk show host turned Senator-elect Al Franken took his turn at the mic, emerging from his home to declare victory.
Franny and I are so thrilled that we can finally celebrate this victory, and I am so excited to finally be able to get to work for the people of Minnesota. Let me say thank you to the people of Minnesota for your patience, for your thoughts and prayers, and for giving me the opportunity to work for you in Washington. I can't wait to get started.
As for what happens next, today's court ruling placed Al Franken's immediate future firmly in the right hand of Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty. Franken can't be seated until the state of Minnesota officially declares him the winner. Today, Governor Pawlenty, a Norm Coleman supporter, announced that he would take care of that formality. He says he'll abide by the court's ruling and sign the election certificate that officially certifies Al Franken's victory. That signature, along with the signatures of Minnesota's Secretary of State, means Al Franken will be sworn in as the next U.S. Senator for Minnesota, the Democratic Party's filibuster-busting 60th vote in the Senate. That's expected to happen sometime next week when the Senate returns from recess. So what does this all mean besides Minnesota's thinking Franken is good enough, smart enough, and gosh darn it, they like him? Joining us now is Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, whose days as the junior and senior senator from Minnesota will soon be coming to an end. Senator, thank you for your time tonight.
Well, thank you, Allison. I cannot believe Rachel is missing this day.
Oh, she's been on it somewhere.
Well, that's right. She's watching somewhere because I've been on the show many times predicting this would end.
Oh, we'll get to that in just a moment. I know you got a chance to speak to Mr. Franken and Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
How eager is Al Franken to get to work?
Well, he really has been waiting for this moment now for 8 months since the election. He really wants to focus on health care, the #1 issue in our country right now, to make health care more affordable for all Americans, and he's ready to go. I think this time has actually given him time to get his staff together and to figure out exactly what he wants to focus on in Washington. So while it has been a tremendously long time for my staff, they've done double the work, and for the people of Minnesota, I think he's ready to go. And I also wanted to add that Norm Coleman had such grace today when he conceded this election. I talked to him on the phone, but I also know that this was a very difficult time for him and for his family, and he didn't have to do this. I mean, his chances would have been small, but he could have gone up to the U.S. Supreme Court, he could have gone to federal court, and he did what he felt was right for the state of Minnesota. So all in all, our people have been patient, but they were ready for this to end, and it's a good day today for our state.
Mr. Franken also mentioned how gracious Mr. Coleman was as well. But the victory does give Democrats 60 seats in the Senate. Does this increase the pressure on you and your party to deliver on major items like you've mentioned, health care, energy reform, but to do so in a way that doesn't result in watered-down legislation?
Well, you know, I think the pressure is always there. The pressure is from the American people. They voted for change when they voted for President Obama and for a change in Congress. They want to see that change. I'm still hopeful, especially with health care and energy. We're going to see some Republican support for this legislation. This is early on. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. But this isn't about one party. This really is about America. I was just up in northern Minnesota at a small company this morning, a small business that makes backpacks. And the number one issue they brought up to me was health care. $22,000 the owner was paying for his family. You see this all over the country, and people need more affordable health care. And I believe in the end there will be some bipartisan support for this legislation. You're not going to see it right away. This is a humongous issue, 17% of our economy, and you're going to see a lot of going back and forth, some for bad reasons, but a lot for good reasons as people try to get to the best solution for the country.
Yeah, those first-person stories, really, they grab you every time you speak to someone who's in trouble. You mentioned earlier today that Al Franken's wife, Franny, had her bag packed for months and has been sitting by the bed in anticipation of this decision. He must have a lot of catching up to do once he finally gets sworn in.
Well, I always love that image. She had this bag packed with her toothbrush just in case it happened in the middle of the night and he had to rush to Washington to vote. Like an expectant mother, she was ready to go. But I will say he has been waiting to do this work, and there is so much to be done. I believe he's going to be assigned to the Health Committee, so he'll be right there up front and center working on this important issue. And, you know, I've told him, like, I don't think he needs to hear this. So many people that have come in that have come from backgrounds, famed backgrounds, from Hillary Clinton to Fred Thompson, another actor. They have all said that just getting to work, doing your job, and I think also in the case of our state, when it comes to health care, representing the people of our state, what's best for our state is going to make a difference.
Before we let you go, I just want to make sure I get this piece of tape in. You mentioned, you said it at the top of the interview on April 29th, this is what you said about Al Franken. You told Rachel this.
You know, I keep giving you predictions. Remember when I said it would be done when the ice melted? And okay, now this is my last kitschy prediction. Okay. When the corn is knee-high on the 4th of July.
When the corn,
and if it's not done by then, yeah, then I'm going to be mad.
So I take it you're pretty happy then. Not mad.
Exactly. I don't have to be mad over the holiday weekend. My family is very, very pleased about that.
Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, thanks for your time tonight, Senator.
Thank you. Thanks, Allison.